Wanda Namungamung Yarunga Wadani Buja. Hello, good to see us all together on Wadandi Buja. Nalak Kadich Wadandi Yungang Jali, the traditional owner Wadandi Buja. We acknowledge the Wadandi people of this Buja and pay respects to elders past, present and emerging here in Tallinup today. I declare the meeting open. Second item on the agenda is attendance. We have apologies from Director of Corporate and Customer Services, Ms Melanie Stevens, and Manager of Planning and Regulatory Services, Mr Matt Cuthbert. And item 2.2 is approved leave, and Councillor Darth has approved leave for this OCM. Item 3 is disclosures of interests. Are there any disclosures of interest that wish to be declared?
I've received advice that I have a proximity interest in relation to 11.2.4, and so I won't participate in that and will leave the room.
Just put that in writing, thanks Councillor, and bring it to the front when you can. And was there any partiality interest, Councillor Earl? On no? Oh, okay. Okay, my apologies. Item 4 on the agenda is public questions. 4.1 is response to previous public questions taken on notice, and the first item on that one, councillors, is 4.1.1, which I'm required to read out. So this was in regards to East Augusta Polypipe Pens Clive Digney at the 27th of August 25 OCM. So question 1 was, will the council provide a frequency distribution of the time between receipt and resolution of operational issues raised with council officers? So part 1 of that question, sorry, the answer to that question is, statistics are not kept for the time it takes to resolve all complaints/requests. Straightforward requests are usually able to be responded to and resolved within a few days. Progress and resolution of other issues are influenced by matters such as the level of complexity, options, external stakeholder engagement and resourcing. Therefore, it is not possible to provide a standard timeline for all requests to be resolved. Question 2 that Mr Digby had was, due to the risk to the public, will the council ensure a demolition order is placed on the PPP and that it is actioned? And the answer to that is the East Augusta Committee or Community Association is seeking formal approval to manage and maintain the polypipe pens on the East Augusta foreshore. Shire officers are currently liaising with the insurance provider to provide coverage to EACA to maintain and manage bookings for the use of the polypipe pens. If this is not successful, then an alternative is to engage members of the EACA to maintain the polypipe structure as volunteers, and the volunteers' work may be covered by the Shire's insurance policy for volunteers. Other options include Shire officers undertaking the maintenance or engaging a contractor to carry out the maintenance, and EACA manage bookings of the polypipe pens. If one of these options prove workable, then the matter may be presented to council for a decision on whether to remove the pens or to accept the risk. We now move on to 4.1, the public question time, and I have 2 public questions on notice, and I ask Paul Sophoulis if you wish to, if you just come to the mic there, you can just stand above it is fine, Paul. You might just need to press the you might just need to press the red
okay. Yeah, mine's just regarding the trail. Firstly, I'd just like to thank all involved, because everyone's pretty excited in town about the construction works, and that includes visitors and tourists that we've spoken to. It's looking brilliant, seeing drone footage of it and people walking it already, which is probably good and bad in some ways. So I was just wondering, I just wasn't sure whether the whole trail would be completed with this current works, if there are any sections that were going to be left to later, and just a background for the completion of the project.
Thanks for your question. I'll defer to Director Mr Logan to answer that one. Thanks.
Through the Chair, thanks for your question, Paul. Yeah, we're working to complete all sections of the trail together before Christmas, and we will be advising of the time frame once we get closer to the date and have more certainty, so we don't give people the wrong date at the outset. But it's being delivered in 2 separate components. So there's some contract work that's being delivered by Common Ground Trails on our behalf, and then once you get to the point of the nodal car park near the lighthouse and it pops up to the road reserve there, we will complete that work using our contract, partly using our own contractors. So it will be all delivered together, just in 2 separate components.
Yeah, so is that from where the trial finishes along Dead Finish Road, will that be completed?
The section along Dead Finish Road will be a shared use component, so the surface along the road there will be formalised and suitable for the same standard of trail as the balance of the trail is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sophoulis, for your question. I also have Mr. Mark Murray, if you wish to come to the speaker. Thanks. Sorry, if you just say your name and address, that'd be great.
Thank you. Mark Murray, 57 Garden Road, Quarrama. Thanks for hearing my question. My question is just related to the article at Warren Hartley Road on the 9th of September about the Shire amount of around 14,000, including GST, last year paid to unmet carbon offset commitments. And yourself and Julia, the Shire President, responded with that you were hopeful at reducing this over time. Obviously, further in the article, we talked about technologies that you were thinking about would be part of that. And I will trust you're familiar with that article. If not, of course, you'll be familiar with the ratepayer cost or the cost. So my question is, given that I'm a firm believer that hope's not a plan, I'd like to understand what is the plan for the Shire to get there to reduce that so that they can meet their carbon offset commitments.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Murray. I may defer that to yourself, Mr. Logan, or who's the most appropriate? We may take that on notice, actually, so we can give you a thorough response. Yeah, but all I can say is that we're committed to, you know, trying to reach our targets by that date. So, but we will provide a thorough response. Yeah, oh, there is, definitely. Yep, there is a plan related to it. So, thank you. Councillors, item 5 is applications for leave of absence. Do I have any applications for leave of absence? No. Couple of permit. No, sit down, Mr. Earl. You don't get to leave just yet, thank you. And item 6 is confirmation of minutes of our previous OCM. So the ordinary council meeting from the 27th of August. Council confirming the minutes. Councillor Boland and Councillor Muir. Anyone wish to speak to that? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. We have item 7, which is deputations. So, councillors, this evening we have 4 deputations, and I will ask Peter Shaddock to come up, please. 7.1 in regards to item 11.2.2, lot 500 Waring Road, Quarrama. Thank you, Peter. Name and address, please, before you start. Just the one on the left. Oh, yep, that's fine. Thank you.
Peter Shattock, 21 Waverley Road, Quarrama. Thanks for the opportunity of this. I'll read this so I don't lose my place. I'd like to comment on some aspects of the Council's response to the proposed structure plan for lot 500 Waring Road by referring to sections of the Council's response and then my comments. First one is the Quarrama Integrated Transport Strategy on page 22. The contribution to the Waverley Road intersection was required by the current approved structure plan as a condition of subdivision approval. The applicant has included a commitment through the proposed structure plan to provide a proportionate contribution to the future construction of the proposed roundabout at Roy Earl Drive. There's no mention of the construction of the Waverley Road intersection. Does this mean the applicant is now avoiding their contribution to the Waverley Road intersection? Next point, road connections on page 23. Objections received raised concerns that the removal of the Duggan Drive connection would result in an increase of traffic along Waverley Road and the subsequent increase in the reliance on Waverley Road and the impact on the transport network during school drop-off and pick-up times. Now, it's pleasing to note the Council now requires the Duggan Drive connection to be completed, but I'd like to highlight the extent of the traffic demands on Waverley Road at the moment. It is the only access for over 200 houses and the Quarrama Primary School, with 3 buses both before and after school. along with dozens of cars delivering and collecting students at those times. It is the only access to the Lions Village for seniors, 2 existing childcare centres and a recently approved daycare centre. The Wirring Road access would reduce traffic on the Waverley and Royal intersections. Further to my previous point, the applicant must be held to the initial requirement to contribute to the Waverley Road intersection. Next is Wirring Road on page 24 of the response. Concerns were raised relating to community safety, stating that the additional connection to Wirring Road would provide better access, egress during an emergency, particularly bushfire. Emergency management is controlled through the bushfire planning guidelines, and the proposed structure plan demonstrates compliance without the Wirring Road connection. Whilst demonstrate compliance with the guidelines may justify the removal of the Wirring Road access for emergencies, another access point would always make good sense, particularly on the side of the estate bounded by a sealed road. An added benefit of the Wirring Road access would be to provide an alternative route to Treaton Road and the light industrial area via Ablett and Palmer Roads, thereby avoiding the town centre and again reducing traffic on the Waverley and Roy Earl intersections. As the Roy Earl roundabout will provide easier and safer access onto the highway, the Wirring Road intersection would most likely only be used by vehicles wishing to turn left onto the highway, with the intersection requiring very little upgrading works. Therefore, I submit the Wirring Road connection should be retained. Next is the Royal Roundabout on page 25. As part of the structure plan for Lot 102 Bustle Highway, a condition has been included to require a proportionate contribute to the construction of the roundabout, as well as a limit of 140 lots being created prior to its implementation. If a similar limit is applied to Lot 500 Wirring Road, it would require work on the roundabout to commence once a combined total of 280 lots are created. There are already 214 houses solely reliant on Waverley Road. Stages 1A and 1B of the new Birdwood estate will add another 63 lots, making a total of 277 lots reliant on Waverley Road. That's 277 compared to a proposed 280 for the Royal roundabout. The Waverley Road intersection needs a roundabout as a priority, and it should incorporate Peak Street. Further on in that section, the proposed structure plan includes a TIA, but Main Roads WA raised concerns about the traffic data used, the projected assessment time frame, and the annual growth rate applied. Main Roads WA also has concerns that the TIA does not appear to align with modelling used in the Shire's integrated transport strategy, and stated that the TIA must be updated to the satisfaction of the Shire and Main Roads WA. How can the proposed structure plan be viewed seriously when the TIA modelling is considered inadequate? Figure 15 in the submitted TIA for 2036 shows that Waverley Road will carry more traffic than Royal Drive, and that the intersection will be busier than the Royal intersection, further showing that the Waverley Road roundabout should be a priority. Figure 15 further highlights the inadequacy of the TIA, as it does not consider Memorial Drive traffic or the new road proposed from Lot 102. Last, structure plan modifications on page 32, the last item. Prior to subdivision, the proponent will be required to provide an updated traffic impact assessment to the satisfaction of the Shire and Main Roads WA. Prior to subdivision, the subdivision has already commenced, and with the blocks adjacent to Waverley Road set out as detailed in the proposed structure plan, even before it has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions, councillors, for our deputy? No? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ta. I'll now ask Sheldon Day and Teo Borton, please, to come up for 11.2.2, the same lot 500 Waring Road. Thank you.
It's currently on. Thanks, Chair President. Councillors. We're not really going to give a deputation as such. We're here to answer questions and address any concerns you may have during your deliberation on this. I can say, though, the dealing with your planning staff and everything through the process, as you would see, there's been a lot of evolution of the plan and other bits and pieces. Comments have been sought. Community consultation was good. There's also been that which has been brought forward. We've had a lot of positive comments through that. So trying to get this all through to fruition would be great. But yeah, it's been a collaborative process. We're open to discussions, but everything that's been put forward, we're working through in and evolving the plan and look forward to your decision.
Okay, thank you. I'll open this up to councillors who wish to ask questions. Anyone? Yep, go for it, Councillor Binks.
Yeah, hi. Listen, thanks for coming, and I appreciate you being willing to field some questions. My only question really is regarding your comments about wanting to collaborate and being open to that. Are you referring to collaborate with Shire staff or with members of the community? And if the latter, how would you propose to do that?
So obviously there's a formal planning framework and process. There's been a public advertising, which council did. We actually ran a session at the in Corrup Town Centre one night. Had everybody come along, address questions. I think that went for...
It was about 40 people which came along. And
so
we did that. We elected to do that.
So we ran a very similar process to what we did with Arbor, where it was a little bit different given we had a structure plan that was in place, so we're seeking to evolve it and actually make it better. Arbor was very much starting from a blank canvas when we actually did the design. So what we actually presented was a few things working through. We addressed a lot of questions that came about that as to why things had been changed a certain way, retention of trees, the open space against the back of lots, all that. So we very did things. With the council officers, obviously, there's been a lot of discussions regarding densities, yields and everything, which is reflected in the council report. And we're happy to address that, and we're trying to get some affordability back in there and hence the density increase in a few areas. So we're willing to trial that. We're doing a similar approach in Arbor where we've got some density sites. And we just think that offers a nice cross-section.
And Waverley Road is being upgraded, I guess, to answer that one. So that council has worked through it.
Probably.
So that is, I guess the officers have got that all in train, and that is being scheduled in those works.
Just to elaborate on that, I suppose, the one thing which there's probably a little bit of disconnect. The Waverley intersection, there has been the time that the structure plan on the western side has been underway and their amendment, there's been these two things running in parallel. Council's done their integrated transport, and excuse me, Nikki, if you can fill in the gaps if I get them wrong, their integrated transport strategy. In doing that, there was obviously the roundabout, which our traffic consultants, Goldfields and ours, everybody's talked together with main roads, and there's a distribution and an allocation on loads and who's going to be contributing to it and the costs, etc. So that's being worked through. In terms of Waverley, that upgrade is being undertaken. That's not being skirted so there's already a commitment that is underway. And that's even a condition that's tied through our subdivision. So that'll be a separate agreement, and that's underway. There's designs which council have with their integrated transport strategy, which we have seen. So that will be undertaken. That's an extension of the turning pocket and a few other things. So that were the two elements that are there. So they are being considered.
I'm wondering, because we've heard from some community members, I'm wondering the modifications that are proposed in this document, were they, they came about from the consultation that you had with the community, and was there visibility exactly of those modifications to the end product that we're now considering? Have the community been consulted on that?
Well, the community consultation is on the document that's presented and submitted. So we can only present that. So you talk it through. There's been obviously a lot of submissions come in. We could then get the chance to actually look at the submissions, come up with ideas that might actually be able to appease them. We can agree, disagree with submissions as well. So a few things have evolved along the way. So the response that's come through and is sort of reflected in the officer's report is very much a balancing act of all the bits and going, this actually helps to massage it, makes the plan a little bit better and addresses a lot of the concerns.
Which is, in effect, yes, it's, I guess, including those comments, which has been working with officers.
It's as opposed to saying, no, we like the first plan and we're going to run with that and we disagree with everything. So that's why we've been talking with your council staff and working through and just been working through plans constantly. And that's what's sort of been fed into the report as well. So we're open to change on that plan.
Anyone else? Councillor Boland.
Yeah, you might have touched upon it already, but there's already a structure plan for this site. So why does there need to be a new structure plan, which seems to significantly intensify the development?
The structure plan's an amendment to the existing one. There's a couple of things. Everybody does development differently. The development that we've done through Birdwood, there's more open space, more tree retention, everything else. The previous one sort of stripped a lot of trees, was dense, south-facing lots.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things in that structure plan that was approved which actually don't fit what we believe the character of Quarryum up in a whole heap of aspects. That's why we went for the amendment. So you've got that. There's obviously also the land lease element to it. So all those things required an amendment to the structure plan. We couldn't develop that structure plan as it was originally approved. We would never develop that way.
And it wasn't done by a developer. So when you get a non-developer doing those plans, they don't necessarily look at actually going to full delivery on something that big. So naturally, you need to change it to make it actually what the, I guess, buyers want.
Okay, yeah, Councillor Muir, and then, oh, sorry, did you have a follow-up question?
Well, you mentioned something about land lease.
Yes.
Is that the lifestyle village? I think
The
you've
lifestyle
named it.
village. Yes, lifestyle village.
So that's their leasehold
Their leasehold
properties,
property.
is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there any proposal to make that a closed-off or gated community?
The way that the land lease with the age demographic is at night they have gates that lock, and it's a security thing at night time. There's other ones where there can be pedestrian access through during the day, but at night it's a security thing. You do have a lot of. We've got other ones. We've got in Bustleton. There's one in Arbour. There's one up in Helena Valley, and you'll find Halcyon and a few other operators doing the same. The night time is the security aspect because there are a lot of single female occupants and other bits and
And
pieces.
they might have a fence this big.
But during the day it's a little bit different when everybody's out and about. So it's only the quiet times that it usually is secured in a certain way. They can't be open.
So you're proposing streets that would have security gates on them that people couldn't get through unless they're a resident with a
During
card?
the day you can go through.
No, but that's why I'm asking at night. There would be.
So
I don't know what hours you're talking about.
The same fashion to what your Margaret River and
Lifestyle.
Nick, what's the one on across from? Sorry. No,
The one on Bustle Highway, across
Yes.
from Rapids Landing.
That's
Yeah, we all
one.
know the one. Yep.
Yeah. So that's got the gates on it and everything else. That during the day you can drive all the way through.
It's
that.
basically night time. When it's daylight hours, it's open.
Nighttime safety.
Yeah. And if you've got a fence this big, which is your backyard, everyone else has a 1.8 metre, they've got an open one that everyone could be jumping in. So it's a safety.
Councillor Muir and then Councillor Ill.
I was just wondering about the developer contribution to the roundabouts. Is that set in place? Like, so for the Royal Earl roundabout, has that contract been defined exactly and the contribution over time?
I would say it hasn't, and I'll defer to Nick because this is a process with main roads. It's a lengthy one. There's commitment that the contribution will be the contribution. No,
Just to expand on that, there's a deed which we've created, which council's got, which has contributions all in it, listed through it. It just hasn't been finalised. It's a draft document that the officers have got to work through, and then that will be like a DCP payment. And so yes, it's done, but it's not finalised. So But it will
I work
fund
on a
it in
different
the
way.
near
The
future.
contribution's being worked on a percentage contribution basis because nobody knows the cost of it yet. Okay, so it's more that way, and I think that's where you're going. So we think very differently. So the contributions we're trying to work out to say what Goldfields generate, what we generate, what main roads contribution would be, what's existing and all that, and it might be 10%, 15%, 25%, and then that'll be of the cost of whatever it is. So that's all being worked through. There's a deed that's being prepared, which we're all going to be party to, and it allows everything to keep going forward because then you have to hit the trigger point as to when it's being built and who's building it. Being main roads, there's always a tendering process, and there's a very long process for that.
Councillor Earl?
Yeah, thank you very much. In the recommendation that's been provided to us by the staff, it shows the link back between Royal Drive and Duggan Drive. I wouldn't mind some comment from you around that, on your views on the... just your comments on the size of the lifestyle village, which looks like it's 250 50 lots. Can you just provide a bit of commentary around those?
I'll do the road? Okay.
You do the road, I'll do the other.
So as you'd all be aware, the first structure when we put up, we actually retained a more formalised cul-de-sac arrangement for Duggan Drive. We didn't connect it through. The volumes and the traffic generation, the land lease generates slightly lower vehicles per day, so that's all taken into account. The traffic modelling actually showed that wasn't needed. There was the Waverley. Waverley still had the upgrade to the intersection, but in terms of ultimate traffic flows when it's completed, the need for that connection wasn't there. We always retained open space down the western boundary because that allowed for pedestrian traffic to the school and going into Burgerwood and access through that PAW. So that was the initial avenue we went. It's one of those matters where we had a lot of people for it and we had a lot of people against it. It was that was probably one of the things that did come up in the community consultation. Whether it's in or out, from a traffic point, it just does disperse. It provides another access point. So we took that on board and happy to put it in there. The other constraint you've got there is we do have those trees. So we originally had the trees, and that was tied to a management matter as well, and it was easier to pull it into the land lease where we can manage it, take over the asset, and actually control that. So there's not some onus on the ongoing maintenance for council. So that's the road also helped provide a boundary for that for the land lease. So the road, and the other part to that is the width that we've got the road, and I think we've shown it sort of as a more hierarchy, a higher order road. All the roads in this estate, given the volumes of traffic and everything, there isn't really a higher order road. In terms of legibility, there is, but in terms of traffic volumes, there's nothing that's generating such a high demand that we need a 20-metre road or an 18. So we've kept that as a wider road just to beat Duggan Drive and a bit of a hierarchy and a desire line, I suppose, for traffic. So the option's there. It provides that connection through, which was asked for. So we know it was in the original structure plan. We took it out. So it was sort of a central connection spine of Royal Drive that goes all the way through up to Waverley. Now we've got the two connection points. In essence, we believe the traffic on Waverley is probably going to be about the same, even with that second access point. Those that want to head north and out are going to head north and out. Those that want to head south through Royal Drive and go through the roundabout when it's ultimately built will still do that. I don't think it's going to change the traffic flows too much. Okay?
But we're on board. We work with the officers and connecting it up, but we're on board with the officers. In relation to the lifestyle village, I guess it's probably a newer business model compared to what's, I guess, the old model. The old model is the retirement village where you buy a house, and I'll just make numbers up for you, but buy a house for 500,000, stay there for 20 years, it's gone up to 700,000. The operator will take 20 to 40% of the sale price. So they'll pay a weekly fee, and they can take up to 40%. So 4 times 700, they'll take $280,000 off the owner when they sell that. Under the pure land lease, we charge a weekly rent. We get no exit fee. So they buy the house, there's no having to renovate when you leave. If they buy it for 500, they sell it for 700. Through there, they just pay a weekly rent that goes up, and they also get rental assistance. Now, because we're not doing this huge big chunky whack on the end when you exit of income. We don't have that. So if we've got a pool, a retirement village sits here with call it 100 homes, and they've got a pool, and we've got a pool. We need scale to replace the pool, because we don't have $300,000 coming out of exit here. If we only have 100 homes and we're both trying to keep a pool going, we're just going to disrepair, because we need critical mass of rent to actually pay for upkeep of all these facilities they've got. So it's kind of, the reason this model is very big in Queensland, the reason it's come out is the Royal Commission actually slammed the retirement model, because unfortunately, I'm wishing you ill health if I'm in a retirement village, because I'm going to take 40% of your sale price. So I need you to burn through there. So how do I want to fix a tripping hazard? No, I actually want your hip to go. So under the other model, I don't get anything out of you exiting. I just want you to have fun, and we look after the resort facility. So it's all the major players in retirement are actually leaving that model of the retirement village. You've actually got the City of Busselton. Paul Needham, he was identified it there. All their old retirement villages are actually, they're really worried, because they're going into quite a lot of disrepair on these, and they're like, how do we actually get out of this? So everyone's moving, it's a scale. We need the volume of homes to keep the resort facilities upkeep, because we don't have an exit fee. So it's actually more affordable. If you actually work it all out, the landless model is significantly more affordable for all your retirees, and they get a fair amount of equity. But that makes sense. It's quite a lot to digest there, but...
No, it's a good way of explaining it, yeah. While we're talking about affordability, and then you can ask a question, Councillor Binks, in lieu of the state government imposing mandatory inclusion zones for a percentage of development for affordable housing, what can you tell us about the affordable aspect of this development? Because we're just obviously looking at every mechanism possible to try and bring in affordability, noting you've got some R40 density in there. So if you could just talk a bit to that, please.
I guess my history, I worked in Melbourne for about 5 years, 15 years ago. Quite a lot more progressive, I guess, in that more smaller housing product. One of the, I guess, for a developer, it's probably evolved in the master plan, where you go, you look back, and affordable housing used to be a villa. Your entry house, if you didn't want an apartment, wasn't as many apartments, it was a small villa duplex. Now, that was Florentine brick, very cheap. Now, what we've been working with council officers is actually you're doing the cool villa. You don't need a garage. You can do, you can have wooden posts up for a carport. It looks, you're very proud, but it's smaller. And that's where we'll actually control we'll do the build out ourselves, because that's the difficult thing is when you get down to small lots, building one home, the builder's like, where can I put my bin? Can't put it anywhere, so they just load the prices. You can be up 30% in build costs if you give you a 200 square metre block and try to build it by yourself compared to a 300 square metre block. It's crazy, but the constrained sites just get loaded. So we'll do the working with the officers, and we're doing this at Arbor as well. So back in the day, we worked through the officers. We'll do these runs of build out, and then we control the end product and deliver a great product, but we can hit that really affordable price point and do cool villas or duplexes. But yeah, because then it ties in with the community of, it's not a lower socioeconomic product. You're just shrinking down at two by one, and you're proud to live in it.
One of the things, sorry, I'll just add on a little bit to that. One of the things which we probably look at, we actually look at house and land a lot more than just land. So we deal a lot with builders, which is probably a little bit different. So all of the lots which we do, we know roughly what houses we can get on and all this, and we work with builders. The Lights View, which Stephen's also put in the reports, you're starting to get to these very fluted type products with tandem bays and other bits and pieces, so you can get them to an affordable build, because building cost is actually one of the things that's making things unaffordable. The second part to that is we've done it in Arbor, and we're proposing it here through a concept with from the council, is we don't like doing strata developments. Because strata developments, then you've got strata fees, all these other bits, and your build quality is sometimes always towards the bottom end. So all of our lots are freehold. So then when you've got a house and land, everybody's standalone, you're not part of a strata or that. So that always actually helps for affordability as well. That's the other bit where banks like it as well. They, rather than a strata, I've got a freehold lot. So we've looked at all those levers to try and hit the affordability metrics. The other part to it is planners, rightly or wrongly, generally likes to do it.
He's a planner by background, so he's allowed to say that.
You like doing, I'll do my R40 here, my R30 there, my R20 there, and you usually want to try and transition lots, so you go from your 20 metre frontages down to your 15s, down to your 12.5s, down to your 7.5. The thing which is sometimes problematic is, I don't want to have a row of 20s and then a 7.5 metre lot and then another row of 20s, because your streetscape starts looking a little bit weird. So the other thing we work with builders, and this is where the 7.5, which is actually a 15 in Carpenter 2, can sit next to 15s, and it actually presents like a single house, so the streetscape still looks nice. So your pride of place for the residents and all that helps to keep the values up. Yet it's affordable, helps to get them in there where they might necessarily, oh no, you're in the density precinct. So that's where that R15 to 40 band, which has been put in, because we said, oh, we could put the mid-block, street block. Putting it on that is the tie back to Royal Drive, so happy to put it in there. And being freehold, when the subdivision comes in, it'll all be locked in. So it's not a case of, oh, we're doing a grouped housing site, we'll come back and deal with it. Similar to what council would have seen with the subdivision for Arbor, the last 200 lots we had approved had all the small lots approved in there, so that's what we will be building. So that's how we've sort of tried to tackle this affordability.
And probably to give you insight of some of the complexities of what we've encountered in the southwest. Like, for instance, Parkwater got blacklisted by a lot of builders. So just because they go in there and they straight away hit granite, and they're like, oh, there's a $50,000 variation which got us through, and they've signed up, and they're in tears, and then they jump on socials and slam the builder, and then they're like, we're not going to build there, or we're going to start putting $50,000 to $100,000 in. So then you unfortunately get the rise of the big boys leave because they're worried about their brand damage of being perceived to price gouge. Then you get some questionable builders coming in who go to town or hit them on variations. So even at Quarama, we've hit some rock. We're actually scraping through. We don't have to do this by election. We're scraping through the block, and if we hit any rock, big rocks, we're ripping them out because we don't want poor buyers. They've just got, they can afford it, and then they get a $50,000 variation and they're in tears. And that's, we do that for brand. It costs us more to do that, but you know, and we're even working through at the moment. I know I'm probably waffling. There's silt pits going down. You know, we're going to start digging out zones so we know, put the material back so that we know they can actually dig into it easy. We're getting into the built form, and you have to if you want to talk. And that's we do that, others don't. But yeah, it's complex.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Councillor Binks. That might be our final question, councillors. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Particularly as, you know, I understand planner speak a little bit. You know, it's taken me 4 years and I'm starting to get the hang of it. The word consultation, I often think lacks its real meaning, you know, what the intent behind it is. Basically, it's a matter of how can you get along with your neighbours, right? And you guys have got a bunch of people who are your neighbours at the moment, okay?
Am I allowed to ask a question?
In a moment, if that's all right.
I'm sorry, we can't. If you can continue, please, Mr.
Yes.
Councillor.
Yeah. It's okay. So getting along with your neighbours is super important, and that's often, you know, often the quickest way to resolve issues is by sitting down, having a conversation over a coffee or something, or not. Doesn't work always. The connection between Duggan Drive, where the cul-de-sac is at the moment, and Royal Drive, that's new, isn't it? And I think that you've created this connection because you felt that it was a better way of doing things, which came out of the consultation that you'd previously done. correct? Yeah?
We did it as looking at all the submissions that were received.
Yep.
Obviously, what are the issues? What's a possible solution?
Right, okay,
And that
okay.
wasn't just
So,
ours, it was council's.
yeah, so I'm understanding that. I'm understanding that. And yeah, I can understand what you've got to do, yeah. The new alignment or the proposed alignment, how have you put that to your neighbours?
The proposed alignment we haven't because we're dealing with council.
You haven't?
No, we haven't because obviously
Okay.
the report that we submit is what we submit.
Okay.
That goes through an advertising, you get the comments, and now we're at this forum. So that's why it's for us to go and propose something completely different with neighbours, which is a maybe, it's a discussion point. We don't know if that's likely to happen, we don't know if it's not, it's just an option.
Okay, all right, thank you for answering my question.
And probably on that, I mean, that's standard due process, I guess, is you get
Of
this
course.
and then you make these changes, you work with all the technical officers, submissions, and then you put it out to the public of these changes.
Yep.
So it's,
Sometimes due process falls a little short, sometimes it's fine. For me, it's about relationship. But thank you for answering my question.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, folks. We'll move on now. Thank you very much. I'll now ask Mark Murray, please, for your deputation on 11.1.1 draft application policy for advertising.
Thank you. Mark Murray, 57 Garden Road, Quorum, up again. I'd like to start with thanking the Shire for acting on this very important policy and giving it the importance that it deserves, and for the work to get it to this point. You've heard from agriculture now from a few years now, and this will continue. Some things that I would like to raise before I ask you to endorse in a few minutes. I just have some concerns about the bureaucratic process that it's taken and the influence that it's had to get it to this point, just so that you're aware. Awareness should be present that there are many Shire staff without agricultural knowledge, which was discussed in our round tables. But I would also like to trust that there are agricultural staff with the respect for agriculture. Shire staff with a respect for agriculture. There was 2 years' worth of electors' motions about ag, which I know you'll be aware of. At the ag round table, which was importantly formed, which we're grateful for, there was a broad attendance to that, and I still feel that that should have been drawn more down to an agricultural route. The Lower South West Growers Group were clearly there, LCDC, the Wine Association, Jackie Biddulph, representing dairy a bit more as well, Farmers Market, TAFE, the Margaret Ag Show, the WA Farmers Federation, and that would have been right, but there were some other groups there that, from a farming perspective, we didn't feel were necessarily completely appropriate, especially assuming it was still ultimately, from a process perspective, going to go out for public comment. So, the Lower South West Growers Group drafted our own ag policy for consideration, and hopefully you read that in your attachment tonight at pages 42 to 44. We also had a 3-page preface in there, the following 3 pages, and I feel as a councillor that's an important read. I trust you've read it, and that draft that you're considering tonight, is still missing some aspects to that, in my opinion. I'm still grateful that this draft is here tonight, by the way. The layout that our draft policy was not acceptable to the Shire due to bureaucratic issues, therefore it was rewritten. But I'd like you to understand that when this policy, after it's gone to public consultation, because I do hope that you endorse it tonight, we'll have some more conversational points around it. The draft policy that we drew up was written by actual farmers with their points and their issues and their language. And I hope you've read that so you can see that, the difference between the two. It also, the current one that you're looking at and hopefully endorsing tonight, also brings reference to a draft local biodiversity strategy, and I'm not really sure if that's right at this point in time, particularly given that that is in draft. That draft local biodiversity strategy in this room here was also put back due to an understanding of a lack of consultation, back to community consultation for farmers to consult. The importance of agriculture and the food bowl and agricultural products is now in the AMR, Shire and Council's thoughts, and it needs to stay there, and I'm grateful for that. Some inequities for agriculture in the LPS number 2, which has now been endorsed. The agricultural community rallied on, and it was massively important that they did, and but we can't see that it's going to end there, that agriculture continues to be consulted. I asked for your inclusion in this policy that the AMR Shire champion agriculture. This policy should have no intent to have any unjust controlling mechanisms over agriculture. I ask you all to still consider thanking a farmer for your food every day. Many Australians put food on the table themselves, but they do not grow it. Just pause on that. Encouraging agricultural awareness and gratitude. Thank you for your time, and given I'm not going to be able to speak later, I thank long-serving councillor and ex-president Ian Earl, and David Binks, shorter serving, but thank you for your service, and your two biggest supporters are in the room too. Thank you. And happy to take questions.
Thank you. Any questions of the Deputy Councillors? Thank you, Mr Murray. I'll now ask the final Deputy, Erin Hutton, please, if you could come up to also talk on 11.1.1. Thank you.
Erin Hutton, 176 Thompson Road, Witchcliff. I've come to speak to the ag policy as well, of course, and I'm speaking to it in regards to the importance of making sure that it has a protectionist mechanism to it. So I'll go through the history of how this has actually all come about, and I know there will be people here that won't be here to endorse the policy, however it looks in November, but I think it's really important that the room has an understanding of how and why. So I'm just going to read from now on. I stand before you today as a directly negatively impacted landowner in the Augusta Margaret River Shire to voice my concerns regarding the intent and development of the draft agricultural policy. The purpose of the ag policy. The agricultural policy should be a mechanism that compels Shire staff, reference groups and advisory committees to directly engage with farming landowners, lessees and managers at the concept stage of policy and strategy development, particularly when those policies will directly affect the lives, businesses, management practices and financial positions of those impacted. Give you a background with how this came about. During the draft writing of the Local Planning Scheme 2, Shire staff Matt C and Matt S held several workshops to inform community and seek feedback, which is great. In response, a number of farmers, some of whom were members of the Lower South West Growers Group, formed an informal farm working group representing farm businesses from Quarram up to Scott River. We met multiple times with Matt at Alex Bridge Hall and Druids Hall, and while we did not always agree, common ground was usually found. This process culminated in the group developing 3 motions presented at the annual General Electors meeting in January 2024. One of those motions was that the Shire develop an agricultural policy document to guide and inform future planning and council in the regard to the direction, infrastructure profile and sustainability of commercial farming across the Shire. Council voted in favours of the officer's recommendation, which was that Council initiates the development of an economic development agricultural policy document with the objective of providing guidance and information to inform future Council decisions, focusing on trends, infrastructure profile and sustainability of commercial farming and supplementing the local planning strategy. We acknowledge the work of then Sustainability Officer Saul Creswell in conveying roundtable sessions with interest groups. His intention to develop a fit-for-purpose ag policy is commendable. We are grateful to Council, the CEO and officers who have demonstrated a willingness to include agriculture as a priority for the future of our region. However, I must highlight some concerns, and these were my comments in the notes, but I want to read them out tonight because they need to be heard. Involvement of the AMRCCE. The officer recommendation was to focus on commercial farming sustainability. Why then were climate activist groups given equal standing in policy development? Cross-referencing inappropriate strategies. The draft ag policy references the strategic community plan and the local biodiversity strategy. These are not farming-focused documents, and their inclusion undermines the original intent of the motion, in my opinion. On-farm data collection, the policy suggests encouraging farm-level data sharing, and as part of the grower group policy, we did include this as well, but we didn't put it into the policy section. It was more as part of the preface, to be part of the preface. Farmers will not support handing over individual business data to local government. Only broad, aggregated or voluntary data can be shared. Engagement report. This is on the engagement report on the draft attachment that you have. Through the report, there's certain references to EU carbon regulations, the UN Urban Climate 2050, net zero and ESG quotas that were never discussed at roundtables but have been included by researchers. These global frameworks are highly contested within farming circles and should not be embedded in local policy without direct farmer input. Do you mind if I go and grab a glass of water?
Yeah, sure. And then are you almost finished, Erin, or just nearly at your time? Yep. No worries, carry on, thanks.
So to put everything in context, and I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but I think this is really important to bring forward to the room. I want to bring special attention to the 2019 submission by the Shire of Augusta Margaret River to the Federal Climate Change Authority, a document authored by the Shire's Sustainability Advisory Committee and formally endorsed by the Council of the day. That submission stated, in amongst it, the Shire of Augusta Margaret River is home to a strong agricultural sector that is acknowledged that some forms of farming are a major source of emissions. Support is needed for a transition to regenerative low-carbon farming practices. It further asserted that poor farming practices are a major contributor to our GHG emissions. This language did more than describe agricultural emissions. It cast local farmers in a negative light. And this is what's caused the division in our community when it comes to council and farming, which we've spoken of regularly, but this is in black and white as to how it's actually come about, and this is part of it. This is just not a matter of wrongdoing. The submission failed to consult the very farmers whose livelihoods were being critiqued, framed agriculture as a problem to be regulated rather than an essential productive sector to be supported, undermined trust between farmers, staff and council. That is why we are insisting that the agricultural policy must be centred on commercial farming realities and must include direct, respectful consultation with landowners, lessees and managers. Anything less risks repeating the mistakes of the past. In the past 18 months, we have consistently asked for recognition and acceptance of agriculture's role in the Shire. we acknowledge and thank the CEO for genuine attempts to build collaboration and communication with the farming community. We respectfully ask Council to consider at some point endorsing what has been submitted, but also making sure that the intent of what I've spoken about tonight is also included. Ensure engagement processes that include farmers first, and I'm talking about directly affected landowners, with advisory groups and NGOs playing a supplementary role, and remove inappropriate references to contested global climate frameworks and protect farmer data sovereignty.
Sorry, Erin, you've gone way over time. If you'll please wrap it up. Thanks.
Agriculture is the backbone of food and fibre production in this region. We need policies that support our sector.
Thank you for that. Are there any questions of Ms Hutton from the councillors? No. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks. Well, okay. Councillors, we are on to item 8, petitions, and Council has received a petition, as you're all aware. I've got it here, printed out. So in regards to the wind farm proposal in Scott River. So do I have a councillor to move a motion in regards to that? Councillor Earl?
I'll move that we receive the
petition. Thank you. We have 3 options, as you're aware, councillors. Do I have a councillor to second that? Councillor Keno? Okay, and there's no debate in regards to that, so put that to the vote, councillors. That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 9, announcements from presiding member, myself. So, councillors, I guess I will, of course, acknowledge that this is our last meeting of this current council, and I thank those councillors that are leaving permanently. Councillor Earl for his 16 amazing years of service to the Shire of Augusta Margaret River, and also to Councillor Binks for your 4 years here at the Shire of Augusta Margaret River. Thank you, both of you, so much for your dedication to your community, your unwavering support to represent them in every opportunity that you can. So thank you. And additionally to the councillors that are, terms are soon expiring but may well be re-elected. I'll now use this opportunity to pass over to Councillor Keno, who wished to say a few words. Thank you.
Oh, hang on, we're good. That's right. Going for the green button, not the red one. So, yeah, this is something that we don't actually get to normally do as a councillor, but one of our ratepayers, unfortunately, was unable to be here tonight, so has asked me to speak on his behalf. So I'm speaking on behalf of Rick Gensley of 3 Merchant Street, Margaret River. So what he said is, I'd like to thank Council for its indulgence through the Chair. Councillor Earl, it's necessary to acknowledge and thank you for your 16 years on Council at this, your last OCM. Your dedication to community and invaluable historical perspective will be sorely missed. We may or may not have agreed on every issue, but here is the essence. Democratic society flourishes when guided by informed debate and discussions from all viewpoints. Whether one side wins or loses, the process is most important. The greatest contributions come from those who are able to look outside and above their own self-interests, where the most good is for the most of us. Your service in its many realms, council within them, over the decades is a testament to your ability to work and sacrifice for the greater good. I'll always be grateful to the decision on Wednesday afternoon of the 2011 fires, brilliant and consequential. I hope your AFL team wins at least 2 games next year and enjoy what comes next. You deserve it. Sincerely, appreciatively, Rick Ansley. And if I may just indulge myself, I have been sitting on council probably the longest with Councillor Earl, and absolutely I've always valued his advice and guidance. And I think for all of us, the history that he's been able to bring to us, I know we joke about it sometimes, but I think that's been absolutely crucial in a lot of the decisions that we make along the way. And we are certainly going to miss you, and Councillor Binks as well. It's been an absolute pleasure and very honoured to have sat on council with both of you. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Binks, did you wish to?
Yeah, I certainly have something to say if now's the right time, but I was going to defer to Councillor Earl because he's been on this a lot longer than me, and I'm happy to follow him if he would prefer that.
Oh, I thought we'd get this at the end of the meeting and make all these people stay and stick around and listen to us, but that's all right. You'll excuse me, I'm actually going to stand tonight because when I first started on council, we had to stand. And I've always thought you take the floor and the floor is yours to speak to. So that changed some years ago, and I've been quite happy sitting down. But look, 16 years on council it's actually been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. But I have to say thank you very much to Helen, my wife. It'll be coming up 51 years shortly. And thank her very much for her support put over the journey. She hasn't been along to too many council meetings the last 5 or 6 or 7 years, but before that she came to. So I do have a little bit of memorabilia here that I did want to show off that I've been given by. Some of these were given to me by staff. So this one says, "I'm sorry I rolled my eyes out loud," because I rolled my eyes one day and I got picked up by the current Shire President for rolling my eyes at one of the other councillors on the comments. So, and this one here says, "Common sense is so rare these days it should be classified as a superpower. Very few of us have it." And there's a couple of other pictures you can have a look at here. And we had a little bit of a disagreement. Those of you who've been around long enough would remember that Baz used to make the cartoons. The prior Baz has passed on, but we bought these off him because a few weeks in a row I got. This was a bit of my doing at the time at council. So, it was something we actually discussed a bit today. Was around the tourism strategy all those years ago, and we'd moved a motion. It got through, and at the next meeting we had 3 councillors who wanted to do a rescission motion. Well, my view had always been it's only grandstanding if you're trying to do a rescission motion and you don't have the 4. You need 4 for it to get up. So it was grandstanding. As soon as I started to talk, I moved that we that the motion be put, which means that only the mover can speak. We did that, got in a bit of trouble. So Baz did that. He's got them all tied up with their mouths covered. And the next meeting, or the meeting after, Councillor McGregor decided she had enough. So she pulled out of council and she resigned and left. And there we are, Augusta Margaret of council, and one of the councillors is disappearing out the side door of the van. That was a long time ago, probably 11, 12 or 13. So, but I'd like to thank, I guess all of you, I'd like to thank all the councillors that I've been part of the councils with over the 16 years, and thank them for all of them for their input. Didn't agree with some of them all the time, some of them probably not much of the time, but they all turn up to do a great community job. I also like to thank the community's support that I've had from the community over the 16 years, and particularly in the last few weeks when people are starting to realise that the time has come for me to go out the door. So, and I've had a lot of people pat me on the back and all the rest. But the people I really do want to thank is the staff that do the job, who do the great job for us as a community out there. And they do a good job, and I hope over the journey I've been able to stand up and support you all in that. And and that's one of the things I always try to do is support the staff, because I actually think that's the #1 role you have as a councillor. If you're going to become a new councillor, you need to support your CEO and your staff, because you're actually the organisation that gives them the direction, tells them what you want to see. And if you're not going to support them, well, don't bother. So I'd like to thank you all for all your efforts over the time, and I guess wish you all the best. One of the great things is we've actually got a great community. I was talking to some young ladies today and said, "Oh, I'll stand for council one day, make Margaret River great again." I said, well, just hold your horses. Margaret River is great. Maybe your slogan should be keep Margaret River great, or keep our Shire great, because it is a great place to live. There's great people out there, as I've had the pleasure to meet before, you know, being part of the bushfire guard and PNCs and footy clubs and all that sort of stuff. But then to see them all out there operating over the last 16 years, it was terrific. So, thank you very much, everyone. Thanks again, Helen, for all your support over the time. I wish you all the best. It's time I shut up. I will never get out for tea.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Councillor Binks.
Yeah, wow. This is funny. I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why. I can only aspire to be able to speak as well as Councillor Earl does. I really thank you, Ian. You've been amazing. So I thought to myself, what always happens when I go to say something from the heart is I forget to breathe. So I've written something down, and all over it is breathe, 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 breathe. So I'm going to do this, and it's going to be fine, and you'll get what I've got to say. So, big breath. Friends, as I conclude my term as a Shire Councillor, I'm filled with immense gratitude and pride for what we've achieved together. Yeah? Our journey has been one of collaboration, resilience, and unwavering commitment to our community. And I am honoured excuse me. Thank you. And I am honoured to have been a part of this team. I truly am. I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the dedicated Shire staff who have been the hands, feet and backbone of our community's success. Your unwavering commitment, hard work and professionalism has been instrumental in achieving our goals and making a positive impact on our lives and the lives of our residents, yeah? I hope you take that on board. From all of your daily operations, which we try not to interfere with, to the execution of major projects, your efforts have not gone unnoticed. And I'm so grateful for the privilege of having been able to work alongside such a talented and passionate team of people. Thank you. Thank you all for your invaluable contributions and for making our Shire a better place for everyone. Yeah. While my role may be coming to an end, my dedication to strengthening our community's relationships together still remains strong. Let us all continue to work together as equals, yeah? Solving problems together. Developers, communities, councillors, residents, staff. Let's work together and fostering a future that is bright, inclusive and full of promise, yeah? Thank you for the honour of serving you all. And here's to the continued success and prosperity of this great Shire. Thank you.
Right, councillors, let's get on with business, shall we? We will move on to 11, item 11.1.1, and that is our draft agricultural policy for advertising. Councillor Muir, do you wish to move the officer's recommendation? Yep, and Councillor Earl, you wish to second it. Councillor Muir?
Yeah, I'd like to put it forward as written, please. Thank you.
Councillor Earl?
Yes, I can speak to it.
Yep, yeah, sure, go for it, Councillor Muir.
Thank you to our deputies today giving deputations. I'm really pleased to see this policy. I think it's a first step in ensuring that we have that ongoing conversation between farmers. Although, unfortunately now, the number of farmers has reduced, I don't think the importance of farming to our Shire has to our identity and culture and also our prosperity. So it's essential that we do maintain that communication, which goes beyond just consultation. I think it is really about a relationship of respect. And I'm really hoping that our farmers start to feel that and do feel heard and understood. And I think, to me, one of the key elements of the policy is to retain the primacy of agricultural land use on agricultural lots. And that is really essential, and we need to maintain that over time. I know that farmers have faced I guess pressure, uncertainty at a state level, at a national level, internationally, and it really is our role to support our farmers and ensure some certainty. And that is, I guess, ensuring that we work together to, I guess, advocate for farmers, and I think we're all really keen to ensure that farming is supported and can be prosperous. So I look forward to this just being the first step in, I guess, our process in making farming good. Thank you.
Councillor Earl.
Thank you very much. Yeah, look, I support the officer's recommendation, and I've got a couple of comments. So it'll go out to advertising. When it comes back and you put the whole thing together, let's just work through the words. Let's get rid of regenerative and sustainable out of there, because they're words that, so you know, they're stuff that farmers do as a natural course, and they need to be sustainable. They need to look after their lands. But it's those couple of words that irk the hell out of them. I could say other things, but I probably shouldn't in here about that. So, but just take those out, reword it so that it fits and sounds what the farmers want, not what you perhaps want out of the staff or out of the councillors. Erin spoke earlier about, you know, there hasn't been too much sort of linkage between the council and the rural people over the time. Well, I have to say, there's been some attempts in the past. It's actually been pretty tough to engage, so it's fantastic to see that the groups are engaging at this stage, and I think there's a great way forward for this. If everybody remains nicely engaged, gets on, and just works through it in a collaborative way without coming in with any set ideas that it must be this. We all got to work it through. There has to be a bit of compromise in a lot of this, but you know, stick to your core values and see where we go. You know, this will come back when I won't be on council. Somebody else will have to make this decision, but I'm sure council will support it if the people from the rural sector and the farmers are happy with it. So I wish you all the best.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other councillors wish to comment? Yep, Councillor Bink.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really pleased that this is now going out for consultation, and I echo everything that's been said so far. Thanks to please pass on our thanks to all of those who you are connected with in the agricultural community. Thank you. What we have to do is we now have to have these conversations with the wider community and get input, because there will be gold in there somewhere. We just have to find it and find eventually what is going to give our agricultural sector, our farmers, the best chance of doing what they already do well. We want to enable them to be able to do it better. So I'm supportive of this. I know things haven't been done perfectly in the past, but that's how humans seem to work together. So the more we work together, the more we talk, the less we complain, and the more we problem solve, the better. So well done, I'm supporting it, and thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak to that? Councillor Keno.
Yeah, I am super excited about this, and I guess 2 years ago when we had our electors meeting packed full of farmers was just amazing. It was finally someone stepped out and put their voice forward. This policy, I must say, I do agree with perhaps the diversity of groups that were on there. I don't think that everybody perhaps needed to have that input. We've really got to focus on the farmers. But this is your opportunity now to come back with that feedback and get this document right. I've spent most of my life writing documents for my dad and people, and always when I start out, it was just something on paper, and it's a starting point. And I'd like to think that this is exactly that. This is a starting point. It's coming back to you now for some feedback, so let's have that and let's get this right. I don't think we'll ever get it right straight up, but at least we're heading in the right direction now, because farming is absolutely crucial to everything. and we need to get that message out. We need the community to understand where their food comes from. We need to share those stories, and just people need to be better educated, because milk just doesn't come from a carton, but so many people don't see the work that goes into that, and how that happens. I don't miss farming, but I still appreciate and acknowledge all of those people that do it, because it's really, really hard work. But yeah, no, thank you everybody for your input, and let's keep working towards that right outcome there.
Thank you. Councillor Boland.
Yes, very supportive of the recommendation. I just wanted to check one thing, which is timelines. It was mentioned by Erin Hutton that November would be a date that this would be back. I didn't see anything in our agenda around when we were thinking of it coming back, so probably a question for the CEO.
Through the Chair, thank you very much, Councillor Boland. We will put it out for a minimum of 3 weeks, which is our usual practice for community input, and it really will depend on the volume of input we get, being able to work with our reference group to go through that input and make any edits to the policy. So an aim would be November, but it really will depend on how much input we get.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. And yes, I'd like to speak in favour of the recommendation, and thank Mark Murray for all the time he puts into council meetings, about as much as council is here all the time, and thank you for your input and your electors meetings as well. So, and Erin also has been a vocal advocate for the farming community, and I think this is things coming together. There's still some concerns, and they can be addressed hopefully in the public consultation period and what eventually comes out. But this seems to be us meshing this with our strategic community plan and with our local planning scheme. Follows the annual electors meetings, which we get feedback at. It does also seem to be, there was a comment at the Meet the Candidates session on Sunday night here in Augusta that too often things were imposed from the administration. This seems to be hopefully something different, that it's come about organically through members of our community saying, what about a policy about agriculture? And then it seems like we've engaged like roundtables, and I think the CEO for all the work she seems to put in, and also the other members of the admin. Hopefully we can get to a policy that satisfies all, because it'd be very valuable for our community, because we're essentially an agricultural community, and maybe we haven't said the right things in the past, and we now this really gives us an opportunity to get things better, and I think it's a real step forward, and hopefully the consultation process will give us a really good outcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Boland. Councillor Kennedy?
Sorry, I just wanted to comment about coming back in November, just to be mindful that we're heading into hay season, and it might not be appropriate for farmers to get back so quickly. That's all.
Okay, we'll take that on board. Yeah, thank you, officers, for the work around this development of this policy. It's really crucial for us to have a guiding document, which a policy is. It's just a guiding document that really ensures that we understand all the sectors of the community, and particularly the ag sector, given its major contribution to the Shire historically, now and into the future. I completely support the diversity of representation in that working group. I think it's really important to get the different views within the ag sector, because there are some different views, and I'm looking forward to it going out to the greater community. And whilst the language may or may not change, it is important to acknowledge that farmers are always impacted by changes in regulation, legislation, and we don't want to in any way impose further implications in regards to that. That's not the purpose of this. It's to support you, to be a voice for you, and just mentioning the biodiversity strategy. That's that's us mapping our environmental assets. They're there. We need to know where they are, and the intent at all is not to further impose any restrictions on farming. So just to make that clear. Looking forward to the consultation process. And coming back to council. Thank you. Let's put it to the vote, councillors. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thanks. 11.2.1 is the LEMAC meeting of the 12th of August 2025. Councillor Boland to move that. Seconder, Councillor Earl. Wish to speak to that?
I'm on the committee with yourself, Shire President, and there's probably just a few things worth noting from that last meeting. On the good news front, the Water Corp reported that the 10 Mile Dam is at the equal best levels for this time of the year for 25 years, which is encouraging. We have water, and hopefully, well, we want our community to use that water wisely. Both yourself and I did raise in the report from DPERB, the Department of Primary Industry and Regional Development, about the polyphagous shot hole borer and why there had been a move from eradication to management, and why there wasn't more intensity and urgency around messaging about what could happen, because this, if this pest gets down here, it could be an awful thing for agriculture. Apparently avocados are really susceptible, and the native trees as well. So I think you and I both raised that why isn't there more being done around that management plan? There is a management plan in progress, but I think there needs, we can advocate for more, and yes, so thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Boland and Councillor Earl. Well, just following up on that, I'll just speak to that, Councillor Boland, and on the back of the meeting with DBCA, one of our top questions was, where is the transition to management for the polyphagous shot hole borer? And no one's seen it. So we're all waiting for it, including the key agency, obviously working closely with DPERB. So yeah, we'll continue to advocate for that to come, to fruition and be transparent to know what the plan is. I think we'll put that to the vote, councillors. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thanks. 11.2.2, Lot 500 Wearing Road, Quaramut proposed structure plan. Councillor Binks, do you have a motion?
Yeah, I actually wish to move an alternate motion. Shire President, would you like me to read that out?
If you could please read it, and then I'll get a seconder for that. Thanks.
Okay, the alternate motion reads that Council, pursuant to Regulation 19.2 of the deemed provisions of Local Planning Scheme Number 1, requests the CEO to re-advertise the structure plan for Lot 500 Wearing Road, Quaramut, subject to modifications contained in the Schedule of Modifications at Attachment 1, with modification number 1 amended as follows. Point A, replace the text to state provide a continuation of Duggan Drive through the structure plan area with the alignment located to the eastern side of the stand of remnant vegetation, subject to further detailed discussion on the alignment and consequential zoning changes within the Shire. And then point B is replace the image with the one that we see up on the screen, and you can see from the dotted line where the
yep, that alignment would be. Yep. Okay, thank you, Councillor Binks. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Muir. Okay, Councillor Binks, you can now talk to that.
Yeah, thank you. I just need to also provide a reason for this.
That's correct. Please state that now.
Yes, the reason is to allow the community opportunity to make submissions regarding the proposed structure plan.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Binks.
Was there a seconder?
Yes, Councillor Muir, so you can speak to that now.
Thank you. It's become obvious through a number of phone calls and through our connection with the community, the contact with the community, that the alignment of the extension of Royal Drive is something that has been a big surprise to the neighbours of this development, and I think that surprises are never a nice thing. I believe that by, that this motion allows for community to provide their input and for the neighbours to be able to say how they feel about the alignment. So I think it's important that as a council we put this out there again for community to be able to comment. That also provides opportunity for the community to comment on some of the other areas. I think that's important as well, because it's become clear that in the dance that is done with the owner of the land and the developer and the residents that are around the community, we've just been stepping on some toes instead of being in sync with each other. So my hope is that in doing this, that we'll be coming to a plan that is going to be the bee's knees.
Sorry, Councillor Binks, can I just confirm that this actually also includes component 2 and 3 of the original motion? Because I just need to know that before we, if you don't mind. So that was in regards to recommends the WRPC that consideration be given to developing policy guidance to this extent. Has that been removed completely? And also the removal of requesting the WRPC actively participate in resolving the funding issues associated with delivery of the major transport infrastructure. That's not on this motion for your information, Councillor Binks. Council, if someone wishes to move that as an amendment or not, what? Yeah, go. Yep, thank you, Mr. Logan.
Certainly, through the chair, I don't see the omission of points 2 and 3 from the alternative motion as necessarily problematic, as they are recommendations to the Planning Commission which can be incorporated into the motion when Council considers the item post the consultation, if this becomes the Council's decision.
Thank you, Mr. Logan, for that clarification. Sorry. Yep.
Yep. So that's fine. That's all.
Yep.
Good.
Okay.
No, that's. I just seek Council's support on putting this out there again.
You, Councillor Binks. Councillor Muir.
I support this amendment. There's been changes, I guess, and an increase in density, road alignment changes and access changes, which I think it's really important residents in that area have the opportunity to look more closely at these modifications and put forward any concerns, and again try and reach, I guess, a point of compromise that has the best outcome for the long-term future. We know that if we don't carefully consider every proposal, there can be legacy issues, so I think it's really important we get this right.
Thank you, Councillor Muir. Anyone else wish to speak for or against this? Councillor Boland.
Yes, I'm speaking for it. I think there needs to be a good look at some of these things that have arisen, particularly the traffic movements, and the movement out onto Wearing Road, I think, is important, which was raised by Mr. Shaddick. Intensification of the sites, very significant, and the freedom of access, freedom of movement in public spaces is a fundamental principles that I don't think we should be departing from. I don't think we want to encourage gated communities, especially one this size as proposed of 250 dwellings. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Boland.
A question, if I might.
Yep, Councillor
to the Director. If it goes out for advertising, how long will it be out for, and when would you get a report back to Council?
Through the chair, we would, I guess, firstly look to consolidate the advertising package. We get it out, Matt, 21 days.
I think a minimum of 14, but I can check that now.
Yeah. And we'll try and turn it around to get it back to the council as soon as we possibly can. So the date now being the end of September, we would probably hope to make the November meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Earl.
I will speak in favour of it, but I do have some real sympathy for the gentleman down the back who would be looking for this to go through tonight. But there is certainly some angst in the Coromuk community, and particularly those people who are affected by what was on the plan, which showed that road that ducked around, and the original one that didn't show the connection between Royal Drive and Duggan Drive, and then the one that did sort of basically ran round the back of some people's places who may well have had public open space before or had some housing there, which, you know, they knew that was coming. This was a little bit different, and I think that's one of the challenges. I also think sometimes that one of these challenges that we probably, for the new councillors coming in, is you need to get some of the gentlemen down the back and others who are proposing these developments, to get them in bright and early in the piece, so that we can all, the council can have a good understanding of what's going on. But the other thing in all of this, I have some concerns around, is around the roundabout on Royal Drive and going the other way. And whilst it needs a roundabout, I have just, it concerns me that you have to deal with main roads who are pretty intransigent in what they do. And you're saying that you've got a percentage, that you'll pay a percentage towards to the roundabout. And if it's $8 million and you're paying 10%, there's $800,000. But if it's $15 million, it's an awful lot of bloody money. And it's there. It's theirs. And I just find this is difficult when we look at the amount of lots you're putting out there, the amount of stamp duty that will come into the state from across all of these property every time they're sold, unless it's first home buyer, then I think they get some relief. But for most part, everybody's paying stamp duty on this thing. It just goes straight into the coffers up there in Perth. But that money should be put into main roads to you know, in the first instance, to make sure we get some decent roundabouts and makes that stuff happen quicker than what it probably will. Because, you know, I would suspect that it'll be 4 or 5 years before anything happens here if we're trying to deal with main roads to get it done. So I have sympathy with them, but I do support the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. I also support this alternative motion. Thank you for putting it forward, councillors. I think it's important that we respond to the concerns in the community. We represent them, so this is an extra level of due diligence. Another, 3 weeks and ultimately probably 2 months till council considers it. But it is a significant change in density. Not saying I don't support density. I think density is the way forward. We've got to effectively use these farm paddocks that we're cutting up for housing. We must intensify density, so supportive of that. But I think this was a key element of this modified structure plan that did cause some concerns around connectivity, and we're already well aware of the connectivity issues in Quaremup. So yeah, happy to support this. Put that to the vote, councillors. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. We'll now go to 11.2.3, which is the Bushfire Advisory Committee meeting of the 20th of August 25. Do I have a councillor to move that? Councillor Muir and Councillor Earl. Councillor Muir.
Yeah, I'd like to support it as written, and congratulations to Tim Garstone and Tony Mostert for their work that they've done, and now the new roles that they will take on with a significant amount of responsibility, and I really appreciate them stepping forward.
Thanks, Councillor Muir. Councillor Earl.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, and I to congratulate all those who have entered the jobs and those who put their hands up to be FCOs and the like. And again, that was after being a delegate to BFAC for umpteen years and being a councillor for the last 16, that was probably my last real meeting at the BFAC from close to 30 years. So. I thank them for the support that I've received, and they're a terrific organisation. We are looking to change the way it operates a little bit, and that will happen to a little bit more informal, because we've always operated informally under a structure that's can be a challenge at times. So, but yeah, and again, they're all ready to go. We've got a top line people who are running the show, and top line people who are prepared to put themselves at risk at times to look after our community, and we've got plenty of them, and we've got plenty of good equipment. So a lot different when I started, but time moves on.
Thank you. Any other councillors? We'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. We will now move on to 11.2.4. Councillor Boland has declared a proximity interest on this item. Thank you, councillor, and he has provided that in writing to our minute taker, and he will not be involved in this decision. So, councillors, we have a motion there. Do I have councillor Earl to move it, councillor Muir to second it? Councillor Earl? No. Councillor Muir?
No, I think it's clear as it's written. I look forward to some plans being put together to address these concerns in the next financial year.
Any other councillors? I'll just conclude and say that I have had feedback that the work done in July has been very well received from the community, so thank you to the Shire for those improvements. We'll now consider the vote on that. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thanks, Councillor Earl. If you can fetch our fellow councillor. Next item on the agenda is 11.3.1, review of council committees. We have an extensive officer recommendation there. Councillors, do I have someone to move that? Or, yep, Councillor Earl and a seconder. Councillor Binks. Councillor Earl? No, I think it's fine. Councillor Binks? No. Any other councillor wish to speak against or for this? Councillor Boland?
Yes. In favour of the recommendation. Just want to make a couple of points. We've got a lot of committee terms of reference there. We're making quite a few changes to a lot of things. Just on the Audit Risk Management Committee, which is now going to become, it's got a rather unusual name now, I think, but anyway, that's what the state government's imposed on us. I think there needs to be a bit of proofing. We probably don't need to go through it now. Because you've got two members from the community now, and I think in parts it talks about one member, so I think we need to tighten that one up. There's a few other things in various terms of reference that I'll speak to the administration about, just typos and just tidying things up. And just on the Local Emergency Management Committee, there's just one aspect of that which I'm happy for it to go through now, which is bringing in the involvement of potentially the Margaret Busselton Tourism Association and the wine industry, which I think is probably a good move that they're also part of emergency management, because they're very significant if an emergency were to arise. Yes, it's good to see us updating all these before the next council terms. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Boland. We'll put that to the vote. Councillors, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 11.3.2, minutes of the Audit and Risk Management Committee, 27 of August 25. Do I have a councillor to move that? Councillor Boland and Councillor Keno. Councillor Boland?
No, I was part of that meeting, but very happy with the recommendation. Thank you.
Councillor Keno. Put that to the vote. All those in favour? Councillors, carried unanimously. 11.3.3 is a council decision action list from January 25 to June 25. I have a councillor to move a motion. Officer's recommendation. Councillor Earl? Yes. And Councillor Muir to second that. Councillor Earl? Councillor Muir?
I'm happy it's written, thank you.
Put that to the vote. Councillors, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 11.3.4 is list of payments for August 2025. We have an officer recommendation there, folks. Do I have a councillor to move? Councillor Keno and Councillor Earl to second. Councillor Earl? No, thank you. If no one else wishes to speak, we'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Earl, you're still voting? Yep. Thank you. Still a few more. You're not tapped out just yet. Okay, we are on item 11.3.5, and that is the financial activity statement for July 2025. Councillor Binks wishes to move that motion. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Boland. And let's put that to the vote, councillors. All those in favour? That's carried. Okay, item 12, councillors, is motions from members, of which previous notice has been given. 12.1 is the review of the Shire Youth Traineeships from Councillor Darth. We have a motion there. Councillor Boland, did you have a question?
No, I'm happy to move.
Okay.
With an addition, because I thought we'd be dealing with this, so should I mention the addition?
I'll just gets, it may not be the appropriate time. I'll just check. Well, we need to first get it on the table, the motion, so we need a seconder. Councillor Muir. So Councillor Boland, do you wish to provide an amendment to that motion?
It was just to add the words at the OCM, or Ordinary Council meeting 26 November 25. Just, it deals with, we're requesting the CEO to provide a report, and
so you wish to have put a date on that report received to council?
I thought we were talking about it coming back then. Well, the Shire Office's comment is recommend detailed report investigating the above motion to go back to council by 26 November 2025 Ordinary Council meeting. So I thought it just ties those things together, so it's clear what we're doing.
Okay, that's consistent with the officer's report. Are you happy with that, Councillor Muir? Yep. Okay, do you wish to speak to that motion, Councillor Boland?
I think it was a very good idea by Councillor Darth to raise that after we had the involvement of the school children at the previous council meeting. They raised it and we acted upon it, and it will be good to see that report come back so we can help out with those sorts of things which concern the younger members of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Boland. Councillor Muir?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. The Shire is one of the biggest employers in our area, and I think we have a diversity of different career options, so it would be great to ensure that we can have youth traineeships available.
Any other councillors wish to speak? Okay, I'll put that to the vote, councillors. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 13 is motions for consideration at next meeting. There are none as far as I know. Item 14, there is no new business of an urgent nature, and there also is no confidential business, so I close the meeting at 7:11. Thank you very much, everyone, for your attendance, and thank you, Council. Thank you. That's a wrap.